You can hear us, Deke? Everything
I
good?
can. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What is going on? I'm sorry to keep you
Hey,
guys waiting, man. I do apologize.
Nah, don't
hey, what's up,
apologize,
my
man.
brother?
Good,
You're good, mate.
good. Am I going to be able to see all of you? I'm only seeing one of you right now.
If you go to your view and you'll be able to select gallery view.
Gotcha.
You got it now?
Yeah, I got it, mate.
That's a hard
All right.
shirt.
What is going on, man? What is going on?
The three mics on his shirt, all legends.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
that's I had
fire.
to had to put this on a day, man. This is literally mine. I'll show this to you. This is my favorite shirt. As you can see, I mean, this man right here is. We're getting to that later, but he's one of the biggest inspirations for me to be on stage, regardless. And turn around now.
The
Oh,
greatest.
that's fire.
Oh, that's a sick shirt. Where'd you get
That's
that?
sick. Yeah.
I don't know if you can see it.
Is that
Yeah, we can see
Yeah,
civil?
it.
yeah, yeah.
Is it civil regime? Who makes that?
It's not. It's actually an independent guy, and that I found.
That's awesome.
I think it's called the Lone Wolf. And I came across it, and I was like, "Who's this guy?" And I started looking at all his other stuff. He does like vintage tees. And I saw that, and it was like $50, and I didn't even care how much. Even if it was $100, I would have paid for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It looks like it's good quality too.
oh, it's very good quality, dude. Very, very good quality. I actually use this sometimes as a pump cover, or I just decide to wear it. But yeah, man, this is it, mate. Yeah.
Deke, how you feeling, brother?
I'm feeling good, man.
It's been a long time, man. I
It
was
has.
telling the boys here that we go back since I believe it was 2018 or 2017, somewhere
Yeah,
around there.
that's. I actually landed in Florida of 2018. That is when
Yep, there
I've
you
been
go.
here that long now. So it's been what, just like 7 years, you want to say? Just
Yeah,
over. And yeah, that was when I was working in LA at the time in Pompano Beach. And
yeah, yeah. We were doing
yeah,
the meetings together, bro.
yeah,
I
yeah.
remember that was hilarious. I had just started at LA Fitness. That was my first gym job, you know?
Yeah.
And man, it's been such a journey since. And you've grown since a lot. You know what I mean? Since then.
Oh yeah, man.
And when did you start competing? Because my first year competing was in 2018.
I started competing when I was in the UK. That's when I actually started my career. I was doing a lot of fitness modeling and stuff like that in the beginning. And before I got into bodybuilding, I was obsessed with fitness. And I had my first coach as of 20, what was it, say 2014 or 2013, around that. 2013, actually, 2013. And you can actually get him up on Instagram. His name's JD Muscle. He's Mr. Universe at the time, an amazing bodybuilder, amazing physique. And he'd always told me, kept on prompting me, he said, "Oh, mate, you need to step on stage, you need to step on stage." And I was like, I don't know if I should right now. I mean, I don't feel ready. Like, do you know what I mean? Because he had like a whole army of guys and girls, and they were all racking up um, competitions. So I didn't feel like I was even in that category to be doing that. You know what I mean? So, a second. So there you go.
Yeah, he has a lot of athletes.
Yeah. So I was like, no, I don't feel ready yet, mate. And he was like, trust me, you are.
Yeah.
Like, just let me do what I got to do with you, and you'll be fine. And I was like, all right. Well, at the time, I was like, look, I want to do it when I feel ready. So I want to work with you for a long period. There you go. That was one of my first.
Ooh!
Yeah.
Throwback D.
It says
Yeah.
That's awesome.
431 weeks ago. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's awesome, bro.
There you go. It was one of my first. It was like muscle model is what they called it. That was me and my
Okay.
169
It's like a different
pound
federation.
days.
And now look what we got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
Mate, this look was incredible.
I
Yeah.
appreciate it, man. I really appreciate
Second place here, right, Deke?
it. That was second place.
Okay.
That was. It was very unfortunate.
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
I know I reached out to you after that show because just just the way you compose yourself, Deke, is just far beyond any, a lot of professionals that I've come across. You're humble and you took that loss with grace, and I could see how heartbreaking it was for you. Um, but it just shows you from when you first started to how you got here now. How has your mentality changed?
Um, I'm grateful for what I have, and I'm grateful for the work ethic that was instilled in me. And I say this to a lot of people: you can't do something like this unless you have a burning desire for it. You can't. If you don't have a burning desire for anything that you want to be successful in, you will not be as great as you potentially could be. That is the way I see it, because burning desire cannot be taught. Burning desire cannot be um, schooled. It's something that you already have. And you can see that within someone and purely in the work that they put into themselves. And I'm gonna quickly step away from the bodybuilding aspect. I'm talking about even people that are extremely successful. Let's talk about the 1% of people, the population in this world that are millionaires and people that have successful businesses. And then we always ask why. How did they do that? How did they live like this? Why do they have that? And blah, 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 blah. It's their burning desire to be where they are now. And they just never stopped and they never gave up and they wanted to do more than what the average person would. Hence the reason why they are where they are. And I'm not going to turn around to you guys and say, I'm where I'm at. No. But from what I can say that I've achieved within a short space of time with being here, um, my first competition was in 2019, I believe, or end of 2018. Yeah, end of 2018, and then I got my pro card after a few shows, 2022, and I've been resilient ever since. And I realized that there's a lot that comes with this. Things that are out of our control, and there's only so much that you can control. I was stuck in fifth place for 2 years straight, right? And I look back at some of the packages that I bought, and I was still asked questions: why wasn't I put further ahead? But I understand that there's a lot more to this now. Being in this for the last 4 years, let's say, like running it up. So I'd say that I appreciate everything that I've accomplished so far very much. I hold that package specifically, Miami, to my heart very dearly because it's something that I worked extremely hard for. And I think that that was the time that I was recognized. And I think that was the reason why I was able to do what I did. And I think that I know I'm going off here, but I would say that I think I built up more. Um, I don't like to use the word clout, but I was more popular within the men's physique industry or category, and I didn't even make it to the Olympics last year. I was a lot more popular than some of the people that did make it, and purely based off, I think it was the resilience and what I was bringing to the table. And it was this, I was just known as that guy that just about made it and he was the underdog. I'm tired of being called that. So I can only say that God willing, this year I'll be granted a ticket to the O so I can really, uh, put my standpoint on everything.
I think the term underdog is subjective, right? Like, I think if you're saying underdog in terms of a shoe in to win a show, but you're certainly not an underdog to be a threat to win the show. I mean, we've seen it consistently with you. I mean, what was your lowest placing last year?
The lowest placing I had was, unfortunately, that was Tampa, and I randomly got seventh place. Um, it wasn't the best time for me personally, so I was going through some personal stuff. So a lot of people put that on me being tired and stuff like that. My stress levels showed through my body. It wasn't that I was tired. So that's just me being open and transparent with you guys. I think you realize now, I mean, I don't post a lot. I'm pretty reserved. You'll
Hmm.
see some things here and there of my family and my kids that I hold to my heart very dearly. But other than that, I'm a working man and I just want to execute and show the end result. I'm not about, oh, let me just post every day and da 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 da. Don't get me wrong, I'll do that near the time, but I still feel that it will deter from what it really is. Um, so yeah, man. Yeah, sorry, going back to what you were saying, I went off track a little bit.
No, I was just saying them calling you an underdog. I think it's just it depends on who's saying it, right? Because I wouldn't necessarily call you an underdog anymore. You know, if you're going to a show, you're gonna force the judges to look at you. You have the pop, you have the shape. I guess it's interesting because there were a few athletes last year that were running the quote unquote gauntlet, right? Like doing 4, 5, 6 shows, and you just said that you weren't tired. Um, do you think it made any difference on your body, or do you think actually multiple shows helped you as you went along?
So this is the thing. If you look back, um, even the previous year, and I'm one of those athletes that actually get better every show. It's just how my body likes to respond. I think it's again the burning desire that I have and the chase for it, and it gives me that adrenaline, and I love that so much. That's what makes me keep going. So it's almost like my body feeds off that, and it gets better each show. And that's what I noticed. I was getting better each show. If I turn around and say, yeah, this look was better than this one, maybe a little bit flat here, whatever. But other than that, conditioning got better, fullness got better, whatever. There was always something. Um, that's what seems to work for me. I would go, yeah, confidently saying that I get better each show. But generally speaking, like if I'm stressed out, it shows through my body. That's just the type of physique that I have. So it wasn't the fact that I was tired. I wanted to keep going. I had the resilience. I just had some personal things going on at that moment, and it really didn't work out well for me. So that was unfortunate. So at that point, I said I can't focus the same now. Although I want to do this, so I need to pull away so I can fix that. And once that was fixed, a lot more fell into place, and this is why I'm now back and ready to go again.
I mean, that's cool that you're able to identify that, you know, and reflect on that because that just adds a human element to the bodybuilding community. I mean, your fans, people just think of us like, hey, just go, 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 but they forget there's external factors and how the stress could impact the body. How would you manage that as a pro now, seeing how it affected you last season?
Decision making, better decision making, um, making sure that I have everything in order so nothing can get disrupted. Sometimes you put things to the wayside and you'll be like, oh, that'll be all right. That'll be fine. I'm good. It'll be good. And then it doesn't work out the way that you want it to be. And it's like, okay, shit, now this is, even though it may not be in the forefront of your mind, it's subconsciously there. And that subconscious can take over without you even realizing, especially if you're thinking about it majority of the day. And that's what was happening. So I said, all right, well, it's not going to be wise to continue until I fix that. And that is the reason why I decided to pull away at that point. But this time round, things are. I mean, this. I've made sure that walking into this, I'm going to be stress free.
Yep.
You know, because stress is a killer. And I think if we even look back at Jeremy Bondia, and I think that was the time that it was it 2018. That was his last showing before the new one that he just did. And he tore his pec and all that kind of stuff. But other than that, you can see the stress in his body. And I know that I think he's spoken about it in one of his interviews before. That particular year, he had a lot going on. And although that he really wanted to do this, the stress took over and it showed in his physique. You
How
know,
does that conversation with your coach happen? You know, with because I know Ishmael, he's a good coach as well. How do you communicate that with your coach? And this is just for all the athletes that don't know how to communicate with their coach.
I'll say this, man. I mean, fortunately, fortunately enough for me, um, me and Ishmael were like brothers first before we became, let's say business partners or, athlete and coach. Um, so I already had a relationship with him where I was able to talk to him about certain things and, vice versa, and then he would, advise me in a certain way. And he'd be like, this isn't, you, because he'd just openly say, I've been working with you ever since you've been here. I know your physique back to front, which he does. He can tell me literally go and eat Pop-Tarts, a burger. I'll tell you about some of my crazy refeeds in a minute. But he'll tell me like
Yeah, I'd
go
love,
and eat all
love
this
to hear that.
crazy stuff. Yeah, he'll tell me to go and eat all this crazy stuff. And I'm like, you sure? And he'll be like, when have I ever steered you wrong? Just go and eat the food. Eat the food, bro. And literally, I wake up the next day and I'm like, leaner,
Pow.
drier, tighter, fuller, all this kind of stuff. I'm like, I thought I was going to have like the worst effect on my body. But that was in the beginning. And now when he tells me to do it, I'm like, all right, refeed day, I get it. And let's go and get it done. But try to form a relationship with your coach. It doesn't have to be a best friend, but then if it's someone that does understand you mentally as well, they will be able to spot certain things within you to make your prep a lot smoother. Let's be honest, because it's not just about putting pen to paper and having the best meal plan and workout program. Yeah, that's executing all that kind of stuff is very important. But what about everything else that's going on in your life? What about finances? What about family? This is something that we deal with as a stress daily. If we have those things, well, finance is going to be the main thing. But a lot of us are family men as well, and we have to take that into account. So these are the kind of things that are not usually spoken about a lot. I saw Ryan Terry speak about that. I think it wasn't last year. I think it was last year, but he was talking about his previous Olympia when he first won it. And he said the whole build up to that, and he had to take time off because he had a newborn baby. He had his gym, being away from his family. Didn't want to do that anymore. So all these kind of things are playing on your mind, and it will affect you
It
long
stacks
term.
up. It stacks up. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was listening to him, and I can relate to some of the things that he was saying. I was like, damn, I really. This is good to hear for me because I didn't feel alone in that. You
It's
see
pretty
what I mean?
remarkable. It's pretty remarkable that although the first year he won the Olympia, the previous Olympia was the year he was working on his gym, and he would post about how he's doing cardio and lifting at like 11 o'clock at night, getting home at 1 in the morning. I mean, I was following his prep, and I mean, I was pretty astonished that he was able to make the improvements he did from Pittsburgh all the way up to the Olympia, considering the amount of stress he had. But to your point earlier, I guess certain bodies can handle stress a little differently. Um, I mean, G's our coach now, and to your point, like we're all brothers, and so I
Yeah.
know for me at least, I won't speak for Chris, but it takes a lot of stress off me knowing that you know, first, he cares about me as a human being and my health. And then two, that you don't need to be an Olympian coach to be an effective coach. G has a lot of experience, and I care just as much about how they deliver a message as to what they're actually saying in the message, if that makes sense. And I think G is one of those guys that, he'll listen more than he talks, and he knows what he's talking about. And I trust him. If you don't trust your coach, you just ain't going to go anywhere.
No. No, I'll say this confidently, and I'm pretty sure that Ishmael is going to see this. And, I would still be speaking the same way, even if he didn't get a chance to watch it. But Ishmael has been like a brother to me ever since I've been here. I respect him highly. He's done a lot for me. He believed in me when I didn't believe in myself, and
I just got chills there. I'm sorry.
yeah.
That was beautiful, man. That was beautiful.
No, I'm
Yeah.
being serious, man. He believed in me
Yeah.
when I didn't believe in myself because he put the actual idea in my mind. I tell you the story. So um, I'm working in LA Fitness. I'm like, dude, right off the boat, man. Like, well, let's say the plane, right off the plane, flew
Right on
to
the-
the
yeah.
country, like literally here. I'm like, my accent is, I think it's watered down a little bit to what people would usually used to be hearing me talk. You know that show Top Boy on
Yeah.
Netflix?
Hmm.
Yeah.
All right, you've seen it?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, I've heard
All right. All right.
it.
Now, that is how I talk back at home. But if I was to talk to
Oh,
you guys
okay.
like this, I think the lingo and the dialect would be a little. You'd have to probably ask me some of the things that I mean, but I think you'd
I'm
understand it.
I might understand a little bit.
Yeah. So he knows me that well because that's how I was talking when I got here. And obviously, if I'm trying to sell, then I'm like, hello, madam, how you doing? And all this kind of, I'm really milking my properness and all that, or me being proper, or whatever. Um, but I'm in LA Fitness. I'm actually about to leave, and he stops me and he's like, "You compete, don't you?" And I'm like, Uh, yeah, because I did a show maybe like 6 months or something like before. Or no, sorry, 6 months. It was like 3 months before, and I still kept the shape. It was like you could you look like you could be Mr. Olympia one day. Like literally randomly, I kid you not. I kid you not. This is exact words. And I was like, get out of here, man. Come on, man. I'm just this guy from England as well. And it's like, yeah, but I know what I'm looking at. Trust me, I know what I'm looking at. And I'm like, all right. And it was like, let's get a workout in one day. Da, 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 da. And then then on, the rest was history. We met up daily to work out all the time. Then we were hanging out outside of the gym as well. And then one day he was like, let me get you in shape, man. I think I could do this. Because this was when he was just starting to be a coach and learning it. It's like, seriously, I want to get you in shape. He said, I know you had your coach in the UK, but I'm going to do a better job. I'm going to take you to new heights, man. I'm gonna do this. Like, trust me. He said, let me get you in shape. I'm like, okay. Within, I think it was 9 weeks, dude. I was like peeled inside out. Went to my first show in Miami, won the overall and the show, and then went on to win multiple shows after that. And pro card, the whole nine, and yeah, it was crazy. And that was it. From that day on, he was like, I have a formula. I know what I'm doing. And he said, trust me, we're gonna make it work. And I know a lot of people are used to jumping ship when they don't get the result they want, and they like to blame the
The
coach a lot of the
coach.
time. Yeah, and not if you're bringing a like. I mean, you're not blind to a situation if you look in the mirror and you know that you've bought a very good physique. You know that your peak was good and all that kind of stuff. I think you guys know this by now. I'm known. I do not miss. When do I miss? I think the only time I would say I've done that now is that time where I was stressed for Tampa. But I wouldn't even say I missed my peak. That was just my body, and I was stressed out.
Cortisol levels, yeah, that does play a
But
role.
but other than that, dude, I mean, they always. I mean, I'm Mr. Consistent, man. I don't.
You, you know what I don't
Co-
understand is when people lie to their coaches, right? Like the coach will say, "Oh, I think you need more food, try this or less." And then they'll say they did it or didn't do it. And but it makes it incredibly hard for them to coach because the coach is taking that, it's a math equation, the sport. And then
Science, yeah.
they're taking it and they're like, okay, well, let's say G added, he said, okay, Alex, I want you to do 40 minutes of cardio. And I told him, yeah, I'm doing it, but I'm really, in reality, I'm only doing 20 minutes. If he sees my next check in and it's not working, what does he have left to do? He's probably going to drop food. He's going to do something else. And then it becomes this whole catch-up game where you're now 8 weeks into doing something that the coach doesn't, you thought you were doing and you're not doing it. And so what I don't understand is why athletes, if they really feel like they have to rely on their coach, why they don't leave or go to someone else or just look internally and understand that it's their fault.
I mean, sometimes you just got to look in the mirror as well. There's a lot of people out there that will turn around and they're the first person they're going to point the finger at is their coach. But they know if they did every single part of that cardio, they know if they followed every single part of that diet. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
this is it irks me when I hear things like that as well. 'Cause I'm like, this person you've been working with, and he's made you look great. Like he's never made you look terrible. Yeah, what you didn't get the result you wanted, but let's be honest, we know how this whole thing is, man. It's not about, in my opinion, about being who's the best all the time. There's a lot more that
No.
goes into it, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I don't like to use the word being political and things like that. But when it don't go our way, sometimes we really have to look in the mirror. If it's the coach's fault, and you'll be able to see that in the peak, man, because then everyone would be saying, "Nah, man, what happened in that day?" or blah 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 blah. But even still, we still don't know the ins and outs. We will never
Yep.
know.
Well,
So for me, I'm loyal. I'm a loyal person, and I truly believe that Ish is amazing at what he does. He's never missed. He's always told me to do things that I may look at and be like, wow, that's crazy. But he knows how I am. I go and do it anyway. And lo and behold, this is the result that I'm bringing. So this is why I can turn around and look in the mirror, and I may not be exactly where I want to be right now, but I know, well, when it's time to be ready, I will be ready.
And coming from
You,
a bigger coach that had a whole team into someone that you didn't have that didn't have that resume, what is the difference in coaching that you've seen? Because you see a lot of people will go after these Olympic coaches and then or someone that competes in Olympia and then they just get treated as a number opposed to as a individual person.
I would say that me and Ish have a very unique relationship because I think because of his strong belief in me, he put and invested a lot of time into me when he didn't have to. And nor did I even ask him for that.
Yeah,
He wanted to do that. So, and when I say put time into me, I'm talking about being in the gym and I'm training with him, right? Or he's training me. And this is when, remember, I was a puny little pep squeak, man, from before, like compared to what I am now, you know? So if I was to walk on stage with that muscle and shreds that I had like now, like when you just first saw when I first started, I'd get smoked completely. So he helped me put on these pounds of muscle. He gave me a lot of the knowledge that I have now in training, so I have the physique what I have today because he was there like more or less every step of the way for years. I was training with him for like 5 years straight, dude. Literally.
that's
Like
time.
and there's not I don't know many coaches that do that. Like literally. And then he's spending time with me doing posing and everything. I mean, I'll be honest with you, the posing is that I'm self-proclaimed. That is my shit. I don't take stuff from people. I mean, if anything, the whole thing with MJ here. Like, he's a big inspiration to my performance on stage and the
Is that
way
where
that I
the
move and things like that.
is that where the little fist movement you got come from? I know you kind of had that movement where you swivel around and you kind of I know MJ is really big with his hands in some of his moments.
Oh, what the one where I do this?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, things like that. Yeah, like because I tell you a quick story. I used to be a dancer and a performer, and I was once upon a time I was an R&B singer and I had a deal and everything, but I don't talk
Whoa.
about that.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about it.
Let-
what was your
I
name,
want to
dude?
I
Let's
want to
not go
hear
off
him
What was
topic.
sing.
your
I want to
R&B
hear him
name?
Let's not
sing,
go off
man.
topic, man.
I
Let's
want
not
to
go
hear
Yeah,
him
there.
Yeah,
sing.
but it's not off topic though. It's not off topic
the
because it made
UK
you who you
files.
are. It made you the performer you are.
Well, yeah, that's very true. That's very
Yeah.
true. My I come from a performing arts background. My mum, um, God rest her soul, an amazing dancer, and my dad, an amazing actor. And I don't use that to put myself out there. I never have. But questions have been asked, and when I would post certain things or whatever, and they'd be like, you and this guy have the same last name and blah 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 blah, and I'm like, yeah, that's my dad. So you guys know Chicago Fire?
Yes. The fire show, yeah.
Yeah, Chief Bowden. That's the Black Chief.
Yeah, that's your dad?
That's my dad.
Oh, snap.
Yeah,
Yo, pull that up.
Wait,
Pull that up real quick.
yeah.
That's interesting because I was watching Chicago Fire. I was a police officer prior to getting injured. So I used to watch Chicago PD and Chicago Fire all the time, man. And that's wow.
Yeah, I don't really, cause I never like to use my dad's name to get myself out there.
Yeah, Iman
I
Walker
never
right there.
have. But that's my dad, man. So
I could
he's
see the resemblance.
British
Yeah,
actor.
wow.
he's inspired me in many ways. My dad is my hero, you
That's
know.
awesome.
Yeah, I can definitely see the resemblance now, for sure. What does he think about bodybuilding?
You should have stuck to acting or the R&B.
Maybe we should talk about that. Maybe we shouldn't talk about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. We don't have to if you don't feel
But
comfortable
nah, I
about it.
mean his perception of it. I guess he can appreciate for what it is, and the work that's involved to get there. Um, he's not the biggest fan, but he likes the fact that I have something that I love and I'm very good at. Um, and he he will support me in what I choose to do with my career. And yeah, let's just say that.
It's
Even though
a,
he's not the biggest fan, even though
it,
he's been to my shows, and the day that I go to the Olympia, he's gonna be there. Like,
sure.
there's no like doubt in my mind. Like, that's gonna be the biggest moment of my life. So he knows that he's gonna need to be there regardless. You know what I mean? He's not gonna be like, I don't want to go because I'm not into it. Like, he's gonna be like, I'm gonna go and watch my son.
It's a
You
unique
know?
sport, right? Like you don't really have passive fans in bodybuilding. You don't have people that, even the people that go, let's say, to the Olympia to watch the Olympia, who
Mm,
are not athletes. I mean, obviously, you have a lot of the competitors that go there to watch. The people that aren't competitors still love the gym, right? Like they still love the aspect of building muscle, getting healthy. You don't get like let's say a person that just loves the NFL, right? You're not going to get that person at the Olympia. It doesn't draw that kind of crowd. So I do find that, when we talk about family supported bodybuilding, people that are outside of that bubble, they just don't really understand it, and that's fine. But the people in it, it just makes perfect sense to us. We wake up every day with a passion for it, and we can't even put a finger on it. It just comes from something else.
yeah, it really does. And well, I'll tell you one thing that he does respect more, other than bodybuilding, is the fact that I'm able to help people and coach people and help them transform, their lives and their mindset. And, that those are the kind of things that I would talk to him about a lot more. Well, my client, how my client's doing, and what is it that you've helped them with, so far now, and how's it going with this person? You see what I mean? So those are the kind of things that he respects. That he loves. That he loves training. My dad trains himself. I mean, he's not into bodybuilding. He does more. It's like functional training and like mixed with. He works with like an MMA trainer who's like a fighter. So you can imagine what the type of training that they're doing. It's like a
Yeah,
mixture of,
intense.
yeah,
Of like hit training.
Yeah,
hit
like cardio.
training, hitting the bag, some weights
Yeah.
involved, not crazy, But yeah, man, my dad is a great man, and he's inspired me to be the performer that I am today, and also my mum. So that's where that comes from, of like the whole stage presence and things like that. That I've had that for so many years. It kind of it's kind of funny when I'm backstage and I'm seeing people trying to get themselves amped up and everything, and they look a little nervous, and I'm like, what are they nervous for? Like, literally, that's just, I'm like, why are they so
Yeah,
nervous about
you're
it?
used to performing already.
If you put me in the dude, I mean, stage is where I feel most comfortable. I love to be there. I can't wait to get on. Like, that's the best part about it. Like,
You
you're
you
seeing how much
prepped
it's
you
making
prepped
me
all this
smile now.
time. You prepped all this time, and now it's your time to shine, basically.
Yeah, it's like, watch me perform. Like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
make sure that you remember me, like, not just because of my physique, but everything as a package. You know what I mean? I've never had, really anyone like train me to pose. Everything was self-taught. And if anything, like when I say, when Ishmael comes into this, he will he will do the posing sessions with me to make sure that my conditioning is great. You see what I mean? So I'm holding them poses. And notice when I'm there, I hold my pose for a long time. I'm not resetting every 2 seconds like a lot of people do. I'm keeping that pose. I'm keeping it. And that's one thing that we're religious about. So every single prep, we really dive into that, especially when I'm getting nearer the time and getting into shape. Not
What
so
do you
much in the beginning.
what do you think about the whole, I guess, a lot of people in the industry talking about men's physique and how we need to just do front and back. Like that's all we care about. And you can see it in a lot of the shows, like with all the divisions, physique is rushed the most. I personally feel like it's a shame because I still think it's part of the sport, which is all an art, right? And even though we don't have, all the poses that the open bodybuilders have, we should still have the opportunity to express ourselves. I do think some people overdo it to a point, but at the same time, I do like seeing the difference. You watch a national show where they have about 8 to 10 seconds, and then you watch the pros, and they get to really go after their posing. and it's beautiful. It's beautiful to watch, and it's why I love the division so much. I just love those poses. I love seeing the different transitions, like little things, like even when, Ryan Terry's doing his little arm movement in his back pose, and you can see all the different back
Mm,
muscles, or Ali and some of the poses he does that really emphasizes the conditioning. And everyone's got different strengths too. So I
mm.
know they're not judging us on the transitions, but it does have offer the ability to show off parts of your body that are different, or just the expression of yourself. I don't know if you feel the same way about the division and be able to have more time, or being able to get more freedom to express ourselves.
Um, Personally, I think the way that they've got it set up, I think it's fine. I mean, I don't have any issues. I'm not asking to necessarily put another pose in there. Like, you know what I mean? As long as they allot you a good amount of time to showcase your physique the way that you want to show it, I think it's fine the way that they're doing it. I love the fact that I get to come out and do my individual, because that is, I think, at that point for any, I think I speak for everyone at this point, that when you have your moment, that's your moment. When you're being compared, it's just comparisons. But when you have your moment in your individual, that's your time to shine, showcase your physique. But I was watching a very interesting video. Is on Men's Physique Radio, and I think they had it was Becky. Was it Becky or no? Was it Becky?
Sandy.
Sandy, sorry, yes, Sandy, the head judge from the Olympia, and she was saying, like, giving some tips and saying, don't allow us to see so much on stage because you're giving us more time to
To
critique you.
judge, yeah.
Yeah. But in essence, I guess it's the same thing when you're being compared, you know?
I just meant the time aspect, right? Like we've seen the NPC level, they say 10 seconds, and really by the time you're going back to your front pose again, they're already calling someone else's name. I think that's more
No,
of
no,
that.
within the amateur league, I think they definitely need to a lot more time because obviously you can clearly see in pro shows they give you a solid amount of time, and I try to do everything within reason. I think if you're given, I mean, you can time my posing routine that I did in Miami. I think what was that? Maybe 35 seconds, maybe 40. Maybe if you look at the time, um, I think that's more than enough. I don't
Yeah,
think
it's
you
perfect. That's
a
good.
minute. I
Yeah.
think is a bit too long because then it's
Minute
just
slow.
excessive, Because really and truthfully, they are really looking for your front and back, but the way that you want to transition and things like that, I get it because I love that myself. So I'm never going to say, hey, start taking that away or pull it back and blah blah blah. We're already going through, uh, quite. I would say the negative side of things with our category again this year, and it always happens when the Arnold comes, which is pretty unfortunate. And I'm touching base on the subject. I saw Ali, and I felt bad for him, man, because you could see he was really hurt by that. He was genuinely like he really hurt his feelings because it was like, think about the amount of time and effort I'll put into this, and you're gonna turn around to me and like just make it seem like we're like kind of anything, And then bodybuilding gets paid $500,000. Is $500,000. We get paid like a little dibby 10
25, what
grand.
was it, 25,000? Like 10,
No,
Yeah,
10?
it was
25,000.
meant to be. Apparently, it was meant to
Yeah.
be 25. That's the
And it
number
was
because
and it
Aaron
was
said that.
40 or the year before, right? I
No,
believe.
last year was 10 grand. It's always been 10.
Oh, it's always been 10. Okay.
Always been 10. And,
Wow.
and, and they
Okay.
said this year it was meant to be 25. Now, I didn't see that in writing anywhere. But obviously it may have been hearsay, but Aaron Banks made a comment about it. And I remember him in a video. Certain things stick out to me, right? I remember him saying that he'll never do it again because it's a slap in the face, it's disrespect, that they're only paying us 10 grand. And then the other categories get paid like, 500,000, whatever. So I get it. And I'm not going to argue that. I think it's a valid point. We should be, for the work we put in, the reward we're given. I don't think it warrants
Well,
in any way,
men's
shape.
physique also brings in the most amount of, you know,
Let's be
athletes
honest.
and
Let's be honest for a second. Yeah, I mean, it's not just the athletes, but I'd probably say at
the
this particular
families,
particular point
all
in
the
time,
people, fans. Yeah.
yeah, this particular point in time, you got, they're probably driving, Men's Physique is driving a large percentage of the ticket sales.
Yeah.
If there was a way to tally that, right? And I think it'd be very easy for them to do. You buy
A
your
survey,
ticket,
yeah, like yeah,
and
what
then
are
you
you here
put
for?
what, and it said at the ticket closure, and then you put which category, and then they can easily tally it up, and then they'll be like, all right, well, they have a point here.
I mean, look how big the Miami Pro is, right? And that's been historically just the beach divisions. So it's pretty evident. And I also don't believe I think the way Physique is now with the newer shorts being a lot more form fitting and shorter. I'm sorry, you can see when a guy has legs or not. It's pretty evident. You can see the shape. And if you're gonna go down to the point of saying, well, I want to see his upper quads and the glute conditioning, then we're talking about bodybuilding and not men's physique. And it's like at what point do you just say, all right, let's put them all in speedos and stringers and we'll just have weight classes and it's just about weight class. It's like boxing, it's not even about the whole point right now, the way it's set up is that it's a look. We're going for different looks. And I'm with you on that. I was pretty pissed. I mean, I've been a fan of Arnold since I was a kid. Obviously, he's one of the reasons why I got into bodybuilding. But at the same time, and I don't think he really meant it to be offensive. I think that's just how Arnold is. He's very offhand and he's very jokey, and that's just his character. But I'm sorry, if you're gonna run a big business like that, you got to know how that's gonna land. And also, like biting off more than you can chew. Like I, if Ali's not coming back, Aaron's not coming back, and pretty soon you're not having the top five men's physique guys coming back, that's gonna hurt your business.
It's true. I mean, I think, do you know what? To be honest, I mean, it doesn't really bother me what they really think about the category, because I think what really matters is, what it comes down to, the head of the IFBB, and the competitions that matter most are, things like New York Pro, Pittsburgh Pro, and the Olympia, things like that. And those are the judges that we really have to impress the most. Um, One thing that I will say that I think has been great for this year is that they have started to increase the prize money. So they're noticing, I don't think it's just about what we're saying, but they're realizing themselves. I think it's something that they need to do now, and Pittsburgh is what, 25,000? Last year was like maybe four or five. So it's up 20 grand. Um, I don't know what the bodybuilders are getting. I can tell you that it's going to be a lot more than us. I'm not saying to give us the same amount, but give us something that rewards the work and effort that we put in. And yes, we train. I can't turn around to anyone and say that we train just as hard, because we train hard and we train. Well, I train very hard, and I train. My intense level in my training is very very high. But these guys are considerably a lot bigger. They have a lot more muscle. So what is put into their physique, I'm not going to turn around and say, "Oh, you're doing." I don't even know how to say it, man.
It requires more demand.
Yes, it does. There's a lot more drugs involved. Let's be
Yes.
honest.
Yep.
There's a lot more food involved. There's a lot more work involved to get there. So
And risk factors too. You say
and
more
risk factors.
drugs, more risk. Yeah.
So I respect the fact that they are paid more and stuff like that, but I don't think it should be a
That big
thing
of a
where,
gap.
no, it doesn't
Yeah,
make too much sense. And
was
even
what was the prize money Derek won at the Arnold? 400?
500,000.
500? I mean, that's 490,000 more than the men's physique. Like that
That's
discrepancy is
ridiculous. Yeah.
crazy.
I
And
mean, look at that.
I think realistically, men's physique is like more of an attainable, goal for your average Joe, to someone to
Yeah,
look up to Deke and be like, hey, I want to look like Deke, at a certain point. So I do agree. I
It's more attainable, but it's still incredibly freaking hard.
Yeah.
Like no way you put about it. Like we were just talking about this before you got on, Deke. The where men's physique now is not entry level. There is no entry level men's division anymore, right? No matter what the way you slice it, you're gonna have to be a bodybuilder. You can't just, oh, I have the genetics, I'm gonna eat healthy, I'm gonna get on stage. You hear about Brendan Henriksen, right? He talks about his first ever show, his first few shows, and he even says, I didn't even have a coach. I had the genetics for it. I started training and I just started eating a little less before the show and I won it. You can't do that anymore. I don't care how good a genetics you have.
very, very true. It's a very good point. I mean, I'll say this actually now, touching on Brandon Hendrickson. I think that he is, for me, uh, one of the greatest to do it of all time. He's still he was like my role model. And I'll be honest with you, me and my coach Ish, we actually we based my physique and the structure of it and the training. um, to have a very similar look to Brandon. And if you look back at my previous years, you'll be able to notice that I was bigger at one point for a reason, right? And I think it was a time where there was going down a bigger route. So we jumped on that, and they actually said to me, I think, well, I got my pro card 2022, but then 6 weeks later, I jumped into my debut show, and I got sixth place for my debut show. And they said to me, you need to put on about 5 to 7 pounds of muscle, or maybe a little more. This is what Steve said to us. And we went away, and I know it sounds far-fetched, but ended up putting on around about 11 to 12. And
That's crazy.
yeah, within a year. And I went back on stage, and then they told me that I was too big and I needed to bring it down a little bit more.
Was
And
that in Miami?
no, that what the first time I did Miami, you'll see I was bigger and fuller then, but you'll notice there's a big transition. What's the word that I'm looking for? Not the word taper. It's streamlined my
Mm,
physique. I
yeah.
was a lot like a bit more gnarlier looking, you know, and my condition was always there, but it was just a different look. And they really liked what I bought last year, you know. But I realized that there's still improvements to be made. As always, we can always improve. And one of the things they said to me was they want to see more back thickness for me and more width. Um, and I will say I haven't really, updated you guys a lot, but we've made some significant improvements. Um, so this year would be very interesting.
You're gonna do Miami this year?
Yes, yes. I'm going for. I really want to win Miami more than anything. That's actually more important to me than the Olympia.
Really?
Yes, it is.
So winning Miami is more important than getting to Olympia?
No, not getting to Olympia. It's more important than being at the Olympia.
Why is that? Do you have a specific reason you want to share?
It's my. I feel that each time that I've done that show, I've been able to really bring something special to the stage, but I just don't think that it was acknowledged the first time the same way. And I landed more of my fans from that show, and obviously now that I did the most recent one, of course. But every time I do that show, there's something about that show where I just truly shine. And a lot of people, if you talk to the guys in Line Talk, the men's physique guys in Line Talk, they have a podcast
Mhm.
too, right?
Yeah.
They said that that was one of their favorite looks of mine, and it reminded them of Brandon. And I said and it's funny they said that because we really tried to emulate
Emulate
that.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, Brandon is a huge inspiration of mine. My top three: Brandon, Andre third,
Buendia.
and third would be Bomdale, but
What what
second would
Yeah,
was
be
yeah. Those
second
are
would
those
be
are my
Andre,
exact
man.
top three too, bro, to be honest.
Yeah,
You said Dre's your number two?
yeah.
Yeah, Dre's sick.
Dre's my G, man. He's just too sick with it, man. He really is. I mean, him and his prime dude, fucking hell, it's crazy.
his abs are crispy. They're just so
Yeah,
Just
those
crispy.
ev-
those
just everything.
Arnolds.
It was just effortless. I
Yeah.
would love to see him get back to that. I know it's different now, but no one can ever take that away from when he was that guy. You know what I'm saying? So I always respect the OGs for a reason. He's an
I,
OG.
I like George Brown's look too. I,
George Branson,
I think George looked incredible at Pittsburgh.
he did, and I tell you this, I'm a big fan of George Brown, right? And I took the purposely when I was going for it wasn't my pro card, I was an amateur at the time. And I took his ex, and someone took a quick video of me on stage, and the way that I used to do it, I used to come down like really I was the amateur doing it, but I still made it look good. And I was like peeled out of my mind, but I was really, really small at that point. and someone tagged him in a video of me doing it, and then he reshared it, and then I met him at Tampa Pro, and I won my class, but I didn't win the overall. But then when we won that class, I mean, he came out and he took pictures of me. I still got the pictures of me and him doing the X together. You know, so he has the most influential, one of the most influential poses in men's physique, if not the
Yeah.
most influential. You know, so you have to give credit when it's due.
Why do
You
you
know,
think he placed so low at last year's Olympia? Because to be honest, I don't think he looked off. I thought he looked pretty good.
um, I'm not sure. I couldn't tell you that. I think it could be political, man. You know, they want what they want at the time. You know, I stood next to him in Pittsburgh, bro. He looked sick. I told him that straight up, and he told me the same. So you look really good, dude. You know, I give him a lot of respect, man. He respects me. He's seen me grind from I was like, you know, I was a little thin, 180 something pound going on stage to like over 200 now. Like, do you know what I mean? So it's a completely different time. And you know, I was at Pittsburgh with him. I was remember that I was emulating you. Like remember that now I'm standing next to you, dude. I'm like fourth at one of the biggest shows. Like it was crazy to me. And he gives me a lot of time when I see him, man. He talks to me. He knows how serious I take this. You know, he gives me a lot of advice of you know how to be in the industry. You know, whenever I see him, you know, he's a really cool guy. And every now and again, he'll reach out, and if I post something to do with me prepping or whatever, he always asks me, you know, well, what you doing? You know how I look or whatever. He even says I send him. I haven't sent him one yet, but I will do at some point. He he sent me his physique snaps and stuff when he was getting ready to go on stage. Not to Pittsburgh. I think it was after that. You know, so we formed a you know a good relationship. Same with Dre. I was spoken to him in a little while, but he was giving me a lot of really good advice, man. You know, as one of the OGs in the game, and they don't have to do that. You know, literally, I woke up to a message in the morning after Miami when I did Miami with Dre, and he was like, why'd you even come here, man? You knew this was my show. Why? So you shouldn't be here. Like, and I know that he doesn't mean it in like a shitty way. He'll say, look, you knew this was my show. And he said, why'd you do this? He said, you didn't need to do this show. You should have done that show and won that. So you can go win. And he's being real. It's like, you
Yeah.
know, if you come to compete and I'm there, you know what's gonna happen. You know that. He's telling me, being real, and I'm just there, just like, all right, I'm listening. I'm
Yeah.
listening. And then they'd be like, you need to go win. Be strategic. Go win. And then next day, like he's sending me a voice note and like saying, dude, like you should go and do this, do that. It came from like a brotherly place, like an older brother kind of thing, you know?
There's
Yeah.
definitely two trains of thought there. I know we had Brandon on last week, Brandon Cantaloupes, and he was talking. We were asked him, you know, all the shows you picked out are big hitter shows, man. And I know your goal is to get to Olympia, and his mentality is that I'm gonna have to see these guys there anyway, and so I got to be able to beat them.
There
But
you go.
to your point, there's also strategy involved too. I don't think there's any shame in picking a show that you think, hey, like if I show up, I'm a contender to win this show. Because at the end of the day, you want to get to the Olympia, and if you're playing the game. This is the rules. This is how you get there. So I don't think either way of looking at it is necessarily wrong.
No, no. Oh, I mean, guys, I mean, I think you should know now. I mean, me and my coach have always taken the same approach, and I was always asked about that. You know, well, why don't you just go and do this small show and da da da? Like I said, I don't help me understand the logic in that other than just going to go and win against like some people that are just starting out or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? They're not going to be any big names. I said, let's be real here. I'm trying to go to the Olympia, right? I need to stand next to the best if I want to be one of the best. If I'm not even going to be taken into account or even get a look, what is the point?
Yeah.
Like I'm the one I'm bullshitting myself at that point. What am I running away from something? I never run away from anything. If anything, that's what I think. That's the reason why I'm respected the way I am as an athlete because I don't run away from shit. I always do big shows and I always place very well. I'm not one of the guys that I'm gonna go and get like eighth or ninth or second call out. I get first call out in big ass shows, and I haven't even been to the Olympia. Think about that. I went to did Pittsburgh last year, right? I was fourth, and then I went to Miami. I was second. I think St. Pete was the smallest one I did, and then Chicago. I was third, and then Texas. I was second. These are all big shows. I
Yep.
deliberately done that. That was a strategy. I said if I'm gonna stand next to the best, no, if I want to be one of the best, I need to stand next to them. I need to be compared because at least I know where I stand. Because if I go there think I'm the shit and I go and get my ass handed to me, like then I'm gonna be like, I know I've got some more work to do. But to know that Ali was first in Pittsburgh last year. Vitor was second. George was third. I was fourth. They're all top Olympians. And then the same thing with Miami. Vitor, myself, then Brandon. Brandon again. He was a rookie last year. He's not going to be classed as a rookie anymore. So he's doing the same thing. So again, he gets it. He understands. I've been that way ever since. I don't think my mindset will ever change. Am I going to be doing more smaller shows this year to qualify? Yes, 100%, because I need that qualification. It's like it's time now. I've proven my point. I don't need to go to just do big shows anymore and like leave out the small shows. I'm going to do that. But for me, I'll say this to anyone: if you truly want to be an Olympian and you want to go stand next to the best, you got to know you can do that first. Don't run away from shows. Put yourself in that position so you can actually know where you stand. Very important.
Great
How many shows
advice.
you got lined up this year,
So
do you
far,
believe?
I need to look at the schedule again. But so far, the first one is Miami, potentially Toronto too. Um,
Ooh,
yeah,
let's
I
get it.
gotta. That'll
I
be a
got
good one.
maybe, maybe
I'll be watching that
Alabama.
one though.
Huh?
I'll be watching that one for sure.
Yeah,
So so
potentially that.
considering like all these shows back
Potentially
to back,
all the
like
Florida shows I'm doing, by the way, just to let you know.
oh
So are
okay.
you doing so Florida Pro at the end of the year? Is that like the last show you would do before the Olympia? So,
Potentially, if I'm here,
Yeah.
because the other plan is to compete in Europe this year.
Arnold, UK.
No, just European shows like
Oh,
Poland or
uh,
Spain, things like
Spain.
that.
okay.
Because I feel that my look and my physique is really appreciated within the European League, and I've been invited to go and uh,
That's good. That's
compete at these shows, and it's been like one was Slovakia, another one was Poland, and I couldn't at the time. It just wasn't within my realm of a budget to do that throughout the year. So this year is something where I said, well, I want to be able to do that. So I want to be able to at least have some American shows underneath my belt, and then a European as well. That's the plan for this year.
how
What's
do you avoid how do you I'm sorry, G. How do you avoid burning out doing all these back to back shows?
Um, it would be strategic rest. I mean, I'm being honest with you. If I really want to be able to, of course, I want to be able to win my first show. But I think once you get at least one win underneath your belt, you're expected to win more than just one. So that's what will keep driving me. Again, I'm one of those people that get better every show. I don't get worse.
Yeah.
So I think that I need like I've always noticed, and my coach has said this, my first show is always really good, it's great, but the second show and the third is like always, or the second is usually like money, so, and then it can just continues from there. Um, so for me, being burnt out, I mean, rest is very important. My coach is a big advocate of that. There was times I took more days off last year than I ever imagined I would. I would train sometimes in a week, 4 days, taking 3 days off, stuff like that. And I looked way better for it. I mean, you can clearly see. People underestimate the power of rest.
Are they active rest days?
The active rest days, yes. Yes, I'm doing cardio for sure. I'm doing cardio for sure. But there's times where they look at me and be like, don't do anything today. If you want, eat your meals and just walk around. Just walk. Nothing crazy at all. Go to the beach. Things like that. Those are the kind of things where, that's a solid. that's a solid coach that knows his shit. He just look at you and be like, "Don't train today." I've turned up to the gym, I kid you not, to train with him, and they look at me and they be like, "No, you're good. Rest and
Yeah.
eat today." Like seriously,
That's a good indication that you're doing your job though, man.
yeah.
And
It's like, no, no. So what for? So I said, no, I want to train. He's like, I know you do, but you don't need to. You're fine. Like, well, you're gonna grow muscle right now. Like, get a pump. You don't need it. Go and rest, and you'll look better tomorrow. Because he could see that he has a different eye. He can see it. I'm tired, even though I don't feel it. So he'll be like, no, you look good, but you can look better if you rested and ate. You need to eat. He's a big advocate on eating a lot of food. Um, a lot of food, dude. A lot of
Talk to us about that peak week.
food. Okay, I'll say this for anyone that's going to be watching this: do not try this. Do not repeat this. I'm not going to say anything crazy, guys.
Don't try
But
this at home.
yeah, don't try this. Don't like, oh,
Disclaimer.
if Deke did it and it worked for him. Yeah, because that's my physique. Like, do what works for you, right? Um, I lose weight and I can just my body wants to once it gets into getting lean mode, that's all it wants to do. It doesn't want to keep on to the food that I'm eating. It doesn't want to stay full. Literally, it wants to run through everything all the time. Um,
Do you
so
generally stay lean though, like year round?
yes,
Okay.
yes. Um, I don't get out of shape, guys. I don't. I don't get out of shape. If you want to say like being out of shape compared to being on stage, then yeah, like yeah. But I don't get out of shape where I'm like, damn, 30, 40 pounds. You know, you'd be able to see it in me. You know what I'm saying? I'm like maybe 15 to 20 pounds above my stage weight. You know, right now I'm just around 224.
What's your
You
cap?
know, my cap is 209. Peak week. It depends, man. It's always the fun time. I think that's the best. I look forward to that the most. I think a lot of people do. Um, do you know what? I mean, I'll talk about the peak week, but I'm going to talk about what's done prior to that, right? As well. But peak week is nothing crazy, guys. I mean, it's all really dependent on how I look and at the time. There's not a formula that we use like leading up. It's more to do with like an open call, a coach's call um, the day before. One thing I will say that we stick to that works for me very well is if I really need to fill out, we go for a nice little pop. Um, Five Guys. I have to have Five Guys. And I do enjoy it, but not to the point where I'm like, oh, I have to eat because I want to eat. It's like that just seems to work for me very well. I've got burgers from many different places where there hasn't been a Five Guys around, and I have not had the same pop or same look. So now it's even if I have to go out of my way and get an Uber that will take me a lot further out to go and get that Five Guys, I have to go and get it. It's that deep. Like I had to there's one time before I had to get an Uber and it was around 25 minutes away from my hotel. I had to do that. Yeah. Because even though there was like another burger place or whatever, it's just like, no, we don't know what works. We don't know the type of oil they're using. We don't know the type of beef that they're using, how the fries are. We know what works, just go for that. And when there hasn't been anything around, then we've had to use an alternative, but it's not given the same look. It really hasn't. So now I know every time I do that, it works for me very well. Um, and that's if we want to go for like a bigger look and harder and gnarlier. If we want to keep it more conservative, funny enough, Denny's steak and eggs and potatoes. Yeah, pretty basic.
Yeah, so like high fat and high sodium.
Yes, yeah. Well, it's not even crazy fat to be honest, because it's quite a lean steak.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's almost like having prep food. I mean, what my first meal of the day right now is steak and eggs, 3 eggs sunny side up. That's how I like to have it. Um, and I have either steak or 93.7 ground beef and some potatoes.
Does your body handle fat better than carbs, do you find?
Car-
Some people, everyone's different.
I get a little watery, from too much fat, but you need some of the water to make you to go into the muscle to give you more fullness, in my
That fill you
opinion.
out. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can't
Yeah.
have zero, but the carbs are higher. I'm one of those people that I can eat an excessive amount of carbs, and you'll probably be very surprised what it does to my body, but how much I need to eat to get there. Because it just, it just runs through it when I'm in that really lean state. So let's talk about prior to peak week. Let's go like maybe, 5, 6 weeks out. Sometimes, especially last year, I got into shape a month prior to the show, and that wasn't planned. You just don't know how your body's going to respond. You're doing the work, you're executing, and your body's working and working too well. You're like, damn. So literally, I turned up one day, and he was like, "You could go on stage tomorrow." So you're not going to be able to. It's not going to be ideal to hold this level of conditioning, and you already know how peeled I come in, right?
Yeah.
So imagine if I was already ready a month out. At that point, I can't just keep peeling down, then I'd lose muscle at that point. So he was like, you're gonna have to eat. So we had to do a reverse diet for about 10 to 14 days. Every single meal I had every day was like 300 grams of rice. And that, every single meal. And then on top of that, I was having cheat meals throughout that
That's
time, maybe like 3 or 4 a week. Think about that.
that's when everyone's suffering and you're here having 300 grams per meal. That's crazy. That's
G,
cool.
G, G, take
Uh,
notes.
G said G take notes.
But again,
That's crazy.
if you see it on paper, again, you can only base that off where you're at in your prep and
Yep.
how your body responds to that.
Yeah.
Because I know some people that they can eat a lot of white rice, but then they respond better to starch and potato.
Potatoes, yeah.
You know what I mean? So again, what works for me is not
May not
necessarily
work.
going to
Yeah.
work for you. And again, it's like when I tell someone like, because Andre, or I've had conversations with him about things that he's done and what works for him. He's like, sometimes I don't have a cheat. I just eat my regular food, and it's the same with me. There's been times I've done shows and I haven't even had a cheat meal. I haven't needed to, you know, because everything's working so well. Unless you just like you want that extra pop, it's like just get a burger, no cheese. You can have bacon if you want, and like just a decent amount of fries. And that went from that. I think there was a time that I was with him. I went Miami. In fact, that Five Guys, they will give you a considerable amount of fries, right? And they put the rest in the cup and then all in the bag and all that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not shy about
So,
their fries.
but I went there like purposely and met my coach. And it was like, no, I'm gonna meet you. Let's have the burger together. I feel like a burger, and let's talk about tomorrow. Blah blah blah. And I got the meal. We're eating it. It was like that don't look like a lot of food, man. I'm like, what do you mean? This is a decent amount. It's like, no, I think you need more. I was like, you sure? I said, dude, this is like a decent amount. I said, no, go and get another portion of fries. Another portion of fries. He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. And I got another portion of fries. And he was like, do you want another burger? Seriously, he was asking me. Yeah, because remember, I'm in my clothes, but then he asked to look at me, and they'd be like, I think you could fill out a little bit more. Because remember, I said tomorrow you're gonna look different tomorrow. So remember, I don't argue, I don't question. I'm just like, whatever you feels the best.
Especially if it's another burger. Be like,
Yeah,
hey,
I'm like, hey
I'm not gonna
man.
argue with you. Let me get it.
But I say this, I bought the other burger and I couldn't eat it because I was too full.
Yeah.
Like, not as in the way I looked. Like, he was asking me, he said, if you can eat that, I want you to try and eat it. But I'm like, I'm actually stuffed. He was like, then no, you're good then. But it was the fries that did it. So it was like literally a mountain, dude. Like a big mountain of
So
fries.
this was the night before Miami.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. There's times I've had there was a time that I did a refeed. The refeeds I get anxiety about because they're a lot of food to take in. And I don't have a big stomach like that, especially when I get lean. So there's a time he said, okay, I want you to have your 300 grams of rice every meal. Pre and post, you can have 400. And then at the end of this, I'm going to get sushi. You can have Cuban food. Also get a smoothie if you feel like it as well. All this blah blah blah. And I was just like, dude. And then I had to say, dude, that's a lot, dude. I don't know if I could get it. I said, get as much as that food that you can get in your body because you fucking need it. Like
Oh,
he
gotta
put it
tell
in
me
he
twice.
capital. He put it
You
in
know?
capitals. It's like you need it. He put it in capitals. You need it. Me, you need it. So to him, I'm like, oh, so you're trying to tell me I'm flat? It was like, eat the damn food. And I ate as much as I could because that was a lot of food. But I woke up the next day and he was right. I actually lost 2 pounds, and for me and all of that, which is crazy. And I looked way bigger, harder, and drier.
That's impressive.
But and then again, guys, look, this is why I say this sounds like really like out there stuff, but it's not. I don't.
I,
I'm not the same as
I
Physique.
don't think it's that out there. There are different body types. Like I know our friend Danny, who was on an earlier episode. I mean, his metabolism is just so fast that he has to have that food in to fill out. So it depends on the person. It's not that strange for us to hear about it because we're in the industry. I think it's weirder for people that, my friends that aren't in bodybuilding. I tell them about some of the stuff I do before a show, and they're like, "Wait, you're eating a Five Guys burger before a show?" And that's where the difference in understanding of the sport comes in, right? Like
Yeah,
there's nuances to it that it's not just about being quote unquote healthy because the Five Guys burger isn't healthy, but it's going to give you a better look, and that's what the sport's about. It's about the better look.
exactly. Yeah.
Something we've had Brandon on last week, but I failed to ask him because we're in amateurs right now for a pro sponsorships. How does that usually work when you're deciding like, okay, I want, to sign with this person? I know you mentioned Shula Fitness does your board shorts. How
Yes,
so I mean, use this time to shout out your sponsors and if you could explain to us how the whole sponsorship works.
definitely gonna shout Tudor out, man. She's been watching me since I was an amateur, and I've been supporting her brand right from the beginning. So it made complete sense. I've always wanted to be a part of the team. I expressed that to her. I was buying her shorts when literally she just first started, man. And it was just like, you'd see a couple of guys wearing the shorts, and I was always buying them. They were dope as hell, And the day that she, messaged me and said, let's bring. She calls me Deke, at times. She'd be like, let's bring Deke on board and da da da. I'm like, wow, shit, she really wants to bring him on board. I was like, damn, this is crazy. And then this has all happened at the point when I was in Texas as well. And, it happened from Miami, when that's showing. So again, I have a lot to thank Miami for because that really put me on the map, dude. And so shout out Chula. She's definitely going to be rocking with me this year. And in fact, you just reminded me because now I'm going to need something more tailored to me as my first pair of Chula wear shorts that would be my own. But anyway, that is the only sponsor I have right now. I was with Metabolic Nutrition, no longer with them. But I'm also working alongside an independent company called Apex Nutrition. It's actually a really good friend of mine, and his formula is great. Solid pre-workout. It's a lot of focus pumps. It's a great product, man. I actually don't have it to hand. I'll show you, but it's a really good product, guys. So look out for that. I actually put it on my story today. And when it comes to getting sponsorships, I mean, you can put yourself out there. Have I approached some people? Not necessarily. I wanted to wait for the right time where I have something to go by and be like, this is the reason why I should be sponsored. You know what I mean? And I think when everything was happening at the time with my moment last year, that's what sparked off a lot of interest. Um, but again, I go quiet, man, because I have a family and a life to think about outside of this.
Yep.
So I put more into that when I'm doing it per se. In the off season, I don't really do that as much. Yeah, 'cause I need to focus on work, finances, my family. I can't. It's a huge part of my life, bodybuilding, but I can't do it. I chose not to go down that route what some other people do. Yeah,
Yeah, because it's your brand at the end of the day, and I have a daughter myself, so I could appreciate how you separate prioritizing family because bodybuilding is one of those sports that takes away from a lot of that time that you have, and realistically, who can be a like my friend always says this, either you're an influencer or you're a bodybuilder, and it's hard to keep up both. And usually you see the sponsorships happen with the people that, have all the time on their hands and, constantly
Mm.
posting and all that stuff.
It's a job in itself, and I'll be completely like 100 with you guys. I enjoy it a little bit, but other than that, I really don't. Like, I don't really have the patience for it. I'm being
Yeah.
honest. I do it because I have to. And of course, I want to be able to share certain things with people, of course, because they're following me. So I respect that. But would I want to have that as like a full-time job and always post all the time? Oh God, I'm just so over it. You know,
Yeah.
if someone was following me around all the time and, it makes my life a lot easier, but I don't want to stand there and put my camera stand up. And I'm so focused into the workout and the prep, like that takes away from it. That's like, oh, I've got to do that now. Are you serious? I
Yeah.
just put all my time and effort into like training. Like, I don't want to start filming shit. Like, I just don't.
We were
I
just
don't
talking
have the.
about,
That's me being 100. Like, if anyone
yeah.
asks me, is there a reason why you don't post much? That's the reason, because I'm like, It's more important for me to bring an amazing package and something that you can turn and say, this is the reason why I respect this athlete because of what he brings to the table. Versus like, oh, he's always posting all the time. I know what he's doing anyway, blah, 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 blah. And it doesn't carry the same value, in my opinion, you know?
We were just talking about this because we obviously we're investing a lot of time into this podcast now. So we have to be posting actively and sharing more than we probably normally do. But and we're going to want to generate more content later this year. Um, as we get into our preps and stuff. But there's no way we're going to be able to do it ourselves. We're gonna have to if we're going to do that, we're going to have someone come from the outside. I
For
know
sure.
Chris is a friend that does it because we want is right now we're in our off season. That's one thing, but or Chris just started prep, but once we're in prep, we can't focus on that. And it also doesn't look as good. When you're the one that has to generate the own content, it's taken away from the actual experience, right? Like whether it's a prep workout or a meal. Um, there's a few athletes out there that will do a lot of the vlog style content, but it doesn't get as much traction because it's not as visually appealing. You have guys like Alex Toplin who invests a lot. I mean, his content guy lives with him. And so it takes a lot of stress off him because he doesn't need it. It can be more organic, right?
Mm,
So it's also not just about being able to fit it in and taking away from your concentration, but also the content just comes out better when you don't always have to do it yourself.
of course it does. I mean, the most I do, guys, is, at times, there's a guy that I know called Chris. Um, you probably know who he is, man. Big Jack Black guy. And he's sponsored by like Gymshark or TLF. He does a lot of stuff with TLF. He's a really good physique. He's
What's
he's, he's competed once.
what's his last name?
Let me get up, man. Let's see. Chris Harris.
Let me see. Chris Harris. Okay, yeah, I've definitely seen him on a lot of the ads. Big guy. Oh, actually, I'll pull it up here. It's probably better. This guy?
Yes. So um he's done quite a few of my content, and that was before, and basically I said, I have like I had a little arrangement with him at the time, and I was like, look, you want to, put on some tissue, you want to learn some training from me, whatever, I'll go over your diet with you, stuff like that. He said in exchange here, film me some stuff. And it wasn't anything crazy because he was there training himself, so then he would just film me. He'd just literally have the camera there. You know what I mean? And he has such a good quality camera, the way it comes out. So you'll see at the time, that was when I was getting ready last year. One of the top pictures that I pinned, I've got a um, metabolic nutrition stringer on my page. Um, and you'll be able to also see, was it that? He done a lot of my metabolic stuff. So anything with metabolic, you'll notice it was him, to be honest with you. A lot of it was. When I was wearing some stuff from Iron Willed as well.
Yeah,
Um,
that's when they were looking for their athlete, right?
Metabolic?
No, Iron Willed. I remember
Yeah,
you posting a
yeah.
bunch of Iron Willed stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, do you know what's crazy is that um I thought it was a little weird, but um I don't know if they even picked anyone.
I don't remember them making an announcement either.
Yeah, it was really weird.
I do know Dark Sports is looking for athlete. I mean, I see you rocking that Dark Sports.
I mean,
Um,
I've always been a fan of dog sport, and you're touching base on something else again. I actually did the athlete search when I became a pro, and I won the North Americans, and I made the top 18, and that
yeah.
was before. Yeah, so I don't know what it would be now um, to apply again. But I know, let's just keep it 100, guys. Again, it's like if you don't have like a big following and all this kind of stuff, it just seems like they're not gonna take to you.
Yeah,
You
Yeah.
know?
they want people who are actively posting and who are gonna, you know,
Yeah,
I had the opportunity of getting flown out for a photo shoot with Dark Sports and just like being backstage, I was able to meet Dre, Brandon Hendrickson, and a lot of those people, and it seems like they're very like social media heavy, like your presence on social media.
yeah. So I mean, again, it's not to say I would love the opportunity to work with them. 'Cause, I have a few brands that I really like. You know what I mean? I can't tell and say I'm only this person because I don't have to be because I'm not, living by a contract or anything. But I'm like, even this brand that you see me wearing, it's like it's nothing to do with bodybuilding, but it's a dope ass t-shirt. Like
It
I don't
is.
want to be able to like be, stopped from wearing stuff like that. I mean, I don't think they'd really say anything even if I was with them because it's not really like bodybuilding related or anything like that. But I do like Iron World. I do really like Dark Sport. I've been a fan of them for many, many years, but I love the opportunity to work alongside them. Yes, I'd love to be a sponsored athlete. It'd be amazing. I mean, so you said they even have an athlete search again?
Yeah, I saw something on their Michael Silva posted on the little chat that he has that they're looking for a women's athlete, and then last week he announced that they're looking for a male athlete as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. Wow.
Yeah, I don't think they put out like a legitimate application process thing. But they said they were looking, so I don't know how that, you know, looks like, but definitely definitely once you start posting more, I guess getting more traction, you have the fan base. I don't see why you can't get sponsored by one of these
Well,
top.
yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I think Brandon and Deke are very similar in the fact they love bodybuilding, they love their craft, and
Yeah.
social media just doesn't come first for them.
Yeah.
I mean, Brandon will post his workouts and a lot of his posing, but it's a secondary act from his training. Not to say that like Brandon Henderson isn't working hard, but he also has more help getting that content, so he doesn't have to work that hard to get that content out there. I wish these brands did a little bit more for amateurs or the people that don't have the following, but are putting that work ethic in and have that mindset to help them grow. That would be nice to see. But that's also what we're doing with this podcast is we're not going to just have pros on. Or the top pros like let's say an Ali, right? Like we're not just looking for champions here. We're looking for guys that are going to be champions, right? Because I know for a fact guys like you and Brandon are gonna be at the Olympia this year, and you have a bright future ahead. And that's why we want to get your name out there now and what's making you special or unique or what's behind your story. Because I think a lot of brands focus on the athlete once they've made it, and it's a shame because they miss out on the whole purpose, like the journey.
Mm,
And right now, you just what you're talking about with your grind and your diligence and always just getting so close but not getting it, but still staying in it. I mean that's why we're doing this podcast. It motivates us. We want to motivate others. We want to have amateurs on here too. But we're looking forward to seeing what you do in the future because uh, we we're not just inviting everyone on this podcast, right? We invite the people with that kind of mindset.
I appreciate that, man. I really do, guys. I'm really thankful for you guys having me on here today. I'm very thankful the fact that you took your time out to even speak to me about what I'm going to be doing. And thank you for acknowledging my work ethic. Most importantly, because that's what I think it really comes down to. That, and yes, my mindset. This year, God willing, I will be given and granted the chance to go to the Olympia stage. And I'll quickly express the reason why Miami is really important to me, because I just feel that that is the show that's just always set me off, and it's my hometown now. Yes, I'm from London, UK originally, but I moved to Miami or Florida 7 years ago, and to know that I can win the show within the place that I now call my new home would mean a lot to me. And God willing, I am given that opportunity to go to the stage in the Olympia this year, and bring the best package I ever bought.
And like you have been, keep God first, man.
Yeah,
It's
he's
always
very
His timing.
he's
So,
very important in my life, guys. Very very important in my life. I know we didn't touch on that today, um, but I truly believe that he wouldn't give me the desire that I have to do this, and he wouldn't put me in the positions that I have been in so far for it to amount to nothing. You know, um, I truly believe that my time is coming. Every dog has his day. Every dog has his day, um, and I truly believe mine is not far.
I think
Appreciate that, man.
G will be on the pro stage with you soon. He's
Oh, 100%.
Oh, I look
100%,
forward to
brother.
the
I'm
day,
waiting for
brother.
that.
Trust me. I'm gonna be in Miami though, rooting for you.
I appreciate it, man.
yeah, we'll
I
be there.
appreciate
Yeah, man.
that. It's going to be a
Above
good time. It's
above
definitely
average
going
will
to
Hell
be
be a
out
yeah.
good
there.
time.
Yeah,
Thanks again,
yeah,
Deke.
yeah. Deke, we're gonna want you back on, mate. Maybe perhaps later in the year, later in the season. It'd be great to hear about how Miami goes for you and what's next. And it's good to get your mentality right now before the season starts. But we also want to catch up with you. Um, once you're in the thick of it. I know it'll be busy and don't feel stressed to come back on, but we would love to have you back on.
No, definitely. I really appreciate that, guys. And I know that it's based on my time and availability, and because Sunday's usually a family day as well for me as well. Just in the week is pretty difficult. So I like to get things done early in the day, so I have the rest of the day. I
Of
know
course.
I may come across like a little bit of an old man, but
That's a
it is
bodybuilding
what it is.
lifestyle. I'm in bed by
Yeah,
like 9 p.m. nowadays. Like 9,
yeah,
10 p.m. I'm in bed, sleep.
yeah.
It's just one of those things, man.
Trust
Before
me.
we let you go, is there any advice you have for younger competitors that want to compete, and see it as a career maybe?
Um, if you're looking at this as a career, take every session that you do like it's your last, and truly put everything that you have into it. If you do not do that, you won't get the result that you want in the end. It's something that you have to fall in love with. You got to love the process and be very, very patient as well. Nothing is given to you easy, and nothing in life is worth having if it is easy. It needs to give you a journey. It really does. So take every day as it comes, and I will honestly say just put everything that you can into it, and just be really serious about it, and definitely get a coach. That's the biggest thing that I can tell you, or the most important thing I can tell you from my statement. Get yourself a coach if you're truly serious about this. You can't see the picture if you're in the frame. There's only
Mm.
so, there's only so much that you know, right? And there's no use Googling and bodybuilding.com and YouTubing yourself until your eyes fall out. Get the guidance and direction that you need to get the result you want.
This is pretty similar
Like
and
that.
related, but what would be your legacy when you hang your border shirts up?
My legacy. I don't even know how to answer that, if I'm being honest with you.
If people were to talk about your name on the street or in the gym, what would you hope they that they would be saying about you?
They respect me for my work ethic more than anything. I think that's what most people know me for. Um, do you know, one thing that I wanted from this guy's more than anything, than even a win, is the respect from my peers. That's what I wanted. I want respect. Respect is the biggest thing to me. It's actually more important than winning a lot of the time. Because a win is a win, great, but you're respected when you do things consistently and you consistently doing it well. So I think respect, and I think if anyone was to talk about me, I'd want them to turn around and say I knew that he was, if not the hardest worker in that gym, he was forthcoming, and he took everything that he did very seriously. And whenever he puts his mind to something, he produces an amazing result. That's why I would want that type of legacy left behind for me.
Love that.
If
Love
that if
that.
that if that if that answers your question.
It does.
Yes,
It
that's
does.
awesome.
Perfect. It's
Yeah.
perfect, man.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to be at Miami. We're going to be rooting for you throughout the season.
Yes.
You know, you and Brandon are guys that we truly look up to in the pro stage. Not, again, to your point, it's not about your wins. It's more about how you're going about competing. And that's why we relate to you guys. It's like what we're trying to bring with our team and the other athletes on our team. So thank you again for taking your time. I know you got your missus and your kid and a lot of other things going on. You're probably getting hungry right now,
I'm
but
actually starving out of my mind.
but
Me
but
too, bro. I'm ready to
but
take and roll
but
my
I
meal up.
think
Me too.
but there's a lot of good messages here, and we can't wait to share this with the rest of the community.
I really appreciate you guys again, man. And let's definitely stay in touch. I'm pretty sure I'm going to see you guys at some point as well.
Are you still coming around Fitness System at all, or?
I do get there every now and again. I do. The gym that I train at a lot of the time now is University Fitness in Tamarack. That's my bodybuilding gym from like since I've been here. So I built my physique, and also LA Fitness down in could be Hollywood, uh, could be Fort Lauderdale. I'm chopping and choosing a lot of the time. Yeah,
Love it.
yeah, guys.
All right, brother. You have a great weekend.
All
All
right,
right, then,
Deke.
guys. Listen, thank you
And kill it,
again.
man. We'll see you in Miami.
Yes,
We'll
definitely. See you soon. Thank you
see you
again,
around,
guys.
mate.
Stay blessed,
All
brother.
right.
Peace.
Much love.